Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Shoreditch in East Central London to Hackney in North East London. This ride takes just 10 minutes and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey could take you as long as half an hour, so cycling is a brilliant way to make this trip if you're looking to save a bit of time. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute as well, then you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting opposite Shoreditch High Street Station and we're going to turn around and head straight up Chance Street. Chance Street is very quiet and rarely has any traffic on it, but it does suffer from the disadvantage of being cobbled. This looks kind of cool, but it is very bone shaking if you're riding it on a road bike, so do just be aware of that. The first part of our journey today is through the Boundary Estate, which is these red brick buildings either side of us. This was actually Britain's first council estate and opened in 1894. Since 2020, the streets around here have been incredibly quiet and mostly free of traffic, thanks to these planters that were put in by Tower Hamlets Council. Unfortunately, a new administration was elected to the council which is actually looking to remove schemes like this, including this one, and reintroduce through traffic to these streets, which would seriously make it a much worse place to cycle. They've been threatening to do that since 2022, but they've been bogged down in the courts with legal challenges that have prevented them from doing it so far. I really hope that they do think again, because the scheme has made a huge difference to this part of town and has really rebalanced the streets back to the majority of people who are not driving but are just walking or cycling to get around. The Bethnal Green LTN, as it's called, has also really quietened down this street here, Columbia Road, which we're on. As you can see from the markings on the ground, this is a designated cycle route. It's a Cycleway 13 it's called, which is a TfL route. And the lack of through traffic on here does mean that it's generally a really comfortable ride. Cars can still obviously access this area. You see there's someone driving in here. They just can't use it as a through route. So if they need to visit shops, or if there may be a trader coming for the market on the weekend which sets up here, then they can drive if they need to. But it's just not somewhere where through traffic passes through anymore, and it's made a huge difference. I particularly like this treatment that we've got on the ground here, with the cobbles in the middle and the slightly smoother surface either side, like a cycle lane. Maybe one that they could put on Chance Street near Shoreditch High Street Station, just to make it a little bit more cycle friendly. This whole section here is rather neat. There's quite a nifty cycle crossing there which keeps you separate from pedestrians, then a cycle path, and then we turn left onto Goldsmiths Row. Goldsmiths Row is actually pretty unusual for a road in London in that it's actually got bollards at both ends, so it's completely car free. It's not like a low traffic neighbourhood where cars can drive in and access. You're not going to run into anything here, and it's absolutely lovely to cycle on that stretch of it. It does revert to a more normal street quite quickly, but even this bit of it is still in a low traffic neighbourhood, so there isn't any through traffic here, and it's generally a comfortable ride. You'll find a lot of people riding bikes around here because it is just a great way to get around this part of town when traffic levels are so low. One thing I would say is that maybe the design of the streets hasn't quite kept up with the reduced level of traffic that's been created by these LTN schemes. This is a really wide open junction. As you can see, there's not really any cars trying to get through it. There is just this one here, but a lot of that asphalt could, I think, be, reclaimed and turned into a slightly larger pavements, perhaps, public space, things like that. A great example of where the public space has benefited is here on Broadway Market. Now, there is a big market here on Saturday, so you have to go around to the right. It's not really a problem. But the rest of the week, Broadway Market is more or less pedestrianised, except for access. And you can see here loads of people sitting out. It's an absolutely lovely spot to come for a coffee, a drink, or something to eat. It feels like it's been that way forever, but actually until the pandemic, there was a lot of traffic on that street. It wasn't always a great place to ride a bike or even to sit out. One improvement that could be made here is to turn that zebra crossing into a parallel sort of pedestrians and cycle zebra crossing to make it easier to get into London Fields on the path here. But you saw what I did there. I used a little trick, which is wait for a pedestrian to trigger the zebra crossing, stop traffic, and then you can go yourself. There's always plenty of people walking here, so you should never have to wait too long if you're using that trick. Now, London Fields Path should be a nightmare. It's a really busy path. You'd think that pedestrians were always straying into it, but actually I think it's so obvious and so many people know that it's actually a bit tight here. There's a bit too many people riding bikes and a bit too many people walking too close for comfort, that actually people do tend to stay out of the cycle path compared to a lot of other places I've been, maybe in central London where you have a similar setup. But still, do be on the lookout for people, maybe especially children perhaps, running into the cycle path there. Do just take it slowly and be cautious and courteous to anybody who finds themselves on the wrong side of the path there. The same also goes for these alleyways that we're passing through now, like Hackney Grove. The council has done, I think, a decent job of squeezing a separate cycle path here next to the pavement in such a narrow space, but you will sometimes find people dawdling in the path, so just be courteous and slow as you go down here. Now, if you know Hackney well, you'll see dead ahead of us that is Hackney Town Hall, and on the right is the Hackney Picture House Cinema. So we found our way to Mare Street, right in Hackney Central. Hackney Central Station is just up to the left there, and we've made it, and that genuinely took us just 10 minutes to get from Shoreditch to Hackney. So you can see why so many people make that journey by bike. I think it's probably one of the more popular cycle routes in London. The public transport links aren't super great, but that Tower Hamlets low traffic neighbourhood scheme has made this an absolute dream ride. It's really, really nice the whole way. And I really do hope that the council keeps that scheme, because it would be a tragedy to see it taken out. It's funny because the election pledge that they had to take it out is a bit of an albatross around their neck now, because I actually don't hear anybody in that part of town complaining about the scheme at all. And it was always, I think, a minority of critics, but I do think that if they did proceed with it, they would find that, you know, it wasn't as popular as it was maybe 2 years ago, before people got used to the idea of having traffic through streets like that. So let's see how it goes and hope that we get safe cycling across the whole of London. Do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and do like the video as well to help other people find it. You can always download a route map of the video in the link below as well, and make sure you check out the map of all the London cycle routes videos, because I do routes like this across the whole of London, and you can see where the videos go on a map, which is a great way to browse them. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you remember this route before the LTN scheme went in? Let me know what it was like, and yeah, I'll see you all again next time. Bye.